both this year for this team? Maybe building things up in the first half to be loaded for the second half to make the run.
I think I told you guys before, and mostly this was pertaining to the young guys. I hope that they're better at Christmas than they were at the beginning of the year and better at the end of the year than they were at Christmas. And I think that's kind of held true. And I think our group has grown together. And it certainly hasn't been without, challenges and different things. But, sometimes you do become better through those things. But I think every year you go into our goal is to be one of the teams playing at the end of the year, making the tournament. And, the steps along the way are your regular season championship, your playoff championship. And we didn't achieve either one of those, but we were in a position at least to try and win the playoff championship again. But, to say it's a bit unexpected, yes, I would say that. But I think every year and kind of, what we've tried to build here is that, every year that's the goal and that's the hope. And I think we had good leadership this year. I think those guys really helped, and our young guys and our team came together. And I still think we have, I don't think we've played our best hockey. I think we've seen glimpses of it. So hopefully we can put that together Friday night first or Thursday night first.
You mentioned 11 new guys. What was the key to getting all those guys to really gel and accept their roles and play as well as they have together?
I don't know. I mean, I think, our forward group was we had more returning guys there. So, I mean, there wasn't a ton of changes. It was putting guys in certain spots. And the back end was, obviously hit the hardest. And, we knew we were going to have to play those guys. And some of it kind of just played out with those guys playing games and who's in and who's out. But, again, I told them the other day, I said, we're at this point because we have 26 players. And we need all 26 right now to keep pushing, to keep being ready, because you don't know. And you know what? That's how we're going to go into it, and that's how we've done it all year. And everyone's had their own contributions, and I think it's, you grow through a year all the time, and sometimes I don't know, like I said, if anything triggered it or anything, but I just think it was just some of it's just the maturity process and learning the game and learning college hockey. And I think we had enough older guys to get us through some of that stuff. But let's not kid ourselves. Our goaltending has been outstanding, and Shep solidified our team, gave our team a lot of confidence by playing the way he did.
Going back to January, you mentioned the Dartmouth tournament and having to go out there shorthanded. What was the value, kind of big picture looking back and going out there as shorthanded as you did, having some guys play well, gain some confidence, and then have those other five come back from the World Juniors in January and really infuse you with a lot more confidence?
I think it was really important. It was good for those guys to get back, and some of those guys that hadn't played as much to get in there and be contributors, much like they were in November. So we kind of went through a little bit of that in November. So it wasn't like it was the first time. So, but, to go out there and really battle and just play and pull together and find a way to win a game and tie a game and win in a shootout. I mean, to come out of there, I think it gave everybody a really good feeling. And obviously we knew we were going to get those guys back. And I thought they came back and played great for us after the tournament. And, I think they've been better in the second half than they were in the first half, and at least the guys that were at the World Juniors were. I think all those things pull teams together. At least I hope they do. I think it was a good thing, and the hardest part as a coach every week is deciding who's in and who's out. But like I said, we've done it with 26. We're going to keep doing it with 26, and you never know when you're going to be called upon, and hopefully everybody's practicing to make sure that they're ready if that situation arises.
I think you said last year, Coach, going into this week, that in 04 and 11 you learned maybe just to kind of take a step back and take it all in and that translated to the guys. Do you feel like even with the returners that you got last year that they're able to just kind of relax and just make this about a hockey game on Thursday?
We're going to try and do our best. We're not going to change a whole lot. Certainly routines and different things like that. I mean, it gets a little crazy. So the guys that have been through it last year, I think it helps. So they have a little feel for what it's like. Especially Wednesday's a long day with all the media. But you don't ever want to take that experience away from those guys. They're going to be what they are, and they're going to be excited. They're going to be nervous. They're going to have all those emotions flying. But I think it's hopefully they handle it well, and for us, we'll try and prepare them just like we do every week to play. And I mean, I can tell today. I mean, they're already really excited about being on the ice and getting ready to practice and get better. And I know next week probably can't come fast enough for most of them, but I think we just keep doing what we're doing and prepare them just like we have all year.
The way this team plays, it's been most successful maybe in the defensive style games that you played two of out in Sioux Falls. Is it about dictating the style of play that you're going to have in this tournament, or is it about just kind of matching what everybody wants to do?
Well, I mean, when you play in our league, we see a lot of great teams, so that shouldn't phase our team as far as the type of teams we're going to see at this time of the year, because we've seen some of the best teams in the country all year in our league, and Ohio State's another one of those teams that I think has had a really good year. I think they were a very, very good team last year. They've got a real good group of forwards. They can play well defensively. They got a little bit heavier team. So we've seen some of those teams already. But, again, we're going to focus on what we need to do. We're going to obviously see if they are doing things that maybe we need to be aware of. And we're going to go in there and prepare our team. But that's really how you go into every week. So none of that really changes. And I think it's more about us. And I think it's good that we haven't played them since last year. It's kind of a new team, so it allows you a little bit more to focus on your own team too, and kind of get guys focused and concentrating on what we need to do to win a hockey game.
Scott Shep mentioned on Saturday after the win that he thought last weekend for your young defensemen, for that entire defensive group, that was their best weekend of the season. Are you seeing that group as they've continued to grow and get experience? Do you think you agree with Shep on that?
I think they've been pretty good all year. When you look at that group as a whole, I think they've played some really good hockey. You had some young players in there that kind of just stepped in and rolled with it. And again, there's ups and downs, but for me, I think if you look at our year defensively, it started with getting a goaltender to step up and play well. And I think when you have that, it gives everybody confidence. You're going to make some mistakes, but he's been there to bail guys out. And I think when you're playing cautiously or afraid, usually you don't play very well. So I think he's been a big part of that too. So he can complement him, but I think those guys have done a real good job all year, and all 8 of them that have played. And I think Shep's helped them kind of get that confidence too, not being afraid to play and making mistakes.
They've never been the problem when you've had a problem. I mean, the young D have always carried their load, don't you think?
Yeah, they've been fine. I mean, to come in and do what they've done, I think has been pretty amazing. Because it's sometimes you can get away with it as a young group of forwards, but to go against some of the players that in our league, and some of the teams we've played, and high end, and learn and play well in those situations certainly gives them confidence too.
How well have Mikey and Dylan been as a defensive duo? I look back, I feel like both of them have made some pretty big plays the last few weeks, taking on 2-on-1 rushes and such like that. I feel like they've really developed into a strong pair.
Yeah, they were really good last weekend. I mean, I think Dylan obviously had a tremendous weekend. Mikey just does, those guys just kind of do their job. I mean, I thought Dylan was a little more involved up the rink, but Mikey's just, they're a good pair. I think there's times during the year where, it's not easy to play the offside of the rink because there's certain situations that you get put in. whether it's offensively or breakouts or anywhere on the rink. I think Mikey's handled that very well, much like Scotty has. And we don't have a lot of right-handed defensemen. That's some guys are going to have to be put in that. But I think I really like our pairs right now. I think they've been solid. I think they've grown with chemistry, and they've done a real good job.
What kind of told you? I feel like most of these pairs have been together for most of the year, at least most of the second half. What told you at the beginning of the year that, putting like Scott Brenovich and Nick Wolf together, or Mikey and Dylan obviously played a little bit in Waterloo together. What kind of told you that there'd be a good fit between these guys?
You try things and see if it sticks. That's really it. You know what? And early in the year, when we did it, I wasn't happy with the way Nicky was playing. He was just trying to be a leader and trying to do a little too much, and had a little talk, and since then he's been good. But I think they're good complements for each other, just like all the other guys. And I think we could put anybody with anybody right now, and they'd all be fine with each other. It's just that's kind of how I feel about the group.
Scott, how important has Justin Richards been to kind of solidifying those forward lines, and how have you seen him grow into a pretty consistent, steady influence there in the lineup?
Yeah, he's been good. I think everyone, you can look at offensive numbers. I don't. I think his consistency level and how he plays the game, what he brings to our team in the face-off circle, defensive responsibilities. He's made a few plays that have resulted in big time goals for us. I think, but just his consistency. I think that's the biggest thing for me. He just plays the game the same, and he's got very good defensive responsibilities, and he's a smart player, and he'll get his first one. Hopefully it'll be soon, but I don't worry about that. I just, for him to come in and do that, I think early in the year we put him in a position maybe a little too soon. We had him up, kind of on the second line, but he's certainly capable of that now. But I like where he's at right now. I think he really gives us a good group of centers.
That center position, when you came into the season, Johns leaves, and I feel like it kind of threw things maybe a little bit out of whack. How have you seen it? I feel like everyone's kind of played up and stepped up to maybe fill a void there.
Well, it's taken some time. I mean, obviously, when you lose a player like Adam Johnson, who you're late in the summer when he's not only your top center but one of your top forwards, it created a bit of a problem, and some of it too. We had some options, and Peter got put in that role. Jarrett's always been in kind of one of those roles, and some of those guys, struggled early in the year, and we moved some guys around. I mean, Avery could play center if we need him to. I mean, Jade, you got Sammy, you got some different guys. So, I mean, we had some guys that have played. It's just a matter of, kind of letting it play out a little bit and figuring out where everyone fits as the year goes on.
Kriegs, how important has he been to that top line and meshing with Joey and Riley? They mentioned they both kind of like his ability to, go into the dirty areas and stuff on that line.
Yeah, I mean, he came with 2 years of experience, so it's not like we're throwing a freshman in there, and he's got good offensive skills, and he's got good hand skills and those things. So he can get out of tight areas. He can make little plays and those things. So it's just again, putting him in that situation. He's got we've tried different guys with some different lines, as you saw early in the year, and we ultimately just kept coming back to that. But he certainly brings experience, and he brings a skill level that's important to our team.
Safe to say Carson Coleman's been the best player on this team the last few weeks, and probably a big reason why you guys are still playing right now.
He's been awesome for me. He's been awesome all year. I think him and Parker, I think those two guys, I think Parker had a good year that he had to miss the 8 games, but up until that point I think he was good. But Carson's literally at times, like we've talked before, he's taken the team and changed the game and injected some life into our team just with the way he's played, the effort that he's put forth, some of the goals that he scored, I think. But that's what good captains do, and for him, I'm really glad he's our captain, and I'm really glad he's having the year because, again, you can look at his numbers and people, he's not a big offensive guy, but there's a lot more value to him than goals and assists, even though they all want more. I just think he's been a real good leader for us. I think his play has been outstanding. And I think he's, when we've needed him most, he's elevated his play to lift our team up and kind of show the way.
I think I know your answer, Coach, but are you reading into any of the similarities between this and the 2011 year? The team, the location, the teams in the tournament?
No, not really. I'm equating it back to some experiences when I was an assistant in North Dakota. Very similar. Funny how they all parallel sometimes.